Hey guys, and welcome back to Castle Crush. And today we are going to be facing off some dragons and some black knights. Now, this first match here is just basically a black knight versus a dragon, giant black knight versus a giant dragon. I do have some enchanters that will be mixed in just because I was using them to, supplement the gusts of wind. But for the most part, this particular match is just one black knight versus one dragon. I'm not entirely sure why it ended up being that the black knight is so much smaller than the dragon, but as you'll see, I mean, it actually still ends up being a fairly close fight between the two in the end, because the black knight does make up some ground as the match goes on with the giant growths. But, I was using the enchanters to buy a little bit of extra time. And it's too bad I had all these metamorphs. I end up not using any of them. It would have been pretty epic because I only have a few enchanters out, so definitely some of them would have landed as the actual cards. But I wanted to just have at least one match where it was just the Black Knight versus the Dragon, which is probably what I'll title this video. So I wanted to have at least one match where it wasn't clickbait. Not that the others won't be as fun, but as you can see right here, oh, the Dragon just barely survives. And then I think the dragon had one extra enchanter on its side too, so that was kind of an epic showdown there. I'm not exactly sure how many giant growths landed on each, but considering I thought the Black Knight was smaller, that was actually a pretty impressive effort by it. So that does it for that match. Interesting to see that showdown. Now, most of these other matches that I gathered were just more of a metamorph type of deal. So I did the same sort of thing, except I decided to use metamorph as I went along. And what happened with these was pretty interesting because some of them I ended up with a lot of enchanters. Maybe not this one specifically, but in the enchanter ones, it got pretty interesting. This one here going for the metamorphs. So now we've got even more dragons in with the metamorph, and this match was just all about the Black Knights and the dragons with the metamorph. I had some skeletons there too, but I wasn't really using them too much because obviously they would ruin the metamorph's potential. But look at that showdown right there, getting some nice stacks in there, but unfortunately I wasn't able to hold them off for the entire match. So however, with Metamorph, we can just get right back in. So that's the great thing about Metamorph, is that it can make for some really interesting and unpredictable matches, even when you're just playing against yourself. Because just like that, we have a brand new stack. It's too bad the old stacks had kind of gotten destroyed, because otherwise it would have been an even more epic showdown. But I'm still trying to work on the deck composition to figure out what the best one is for doing friendly versus friendly. But Metamorph is a great way to go. This one should be pretty nice too, although you can tell the left side has a definite advantage. I really like doing these type of matches, and I would kind of like to do more of them. I know they're not quite as interesting as like live matches against other players, but they're still really interesting, especially with the metamorph, to just get like an unpredictable sort of result. And one I'd really like to do, a style I'd really like to do, would be using the necromancer with various cards like against each other, like necromancer and dragon versus necromancer and black knight, because that would be a sort of like a longer showdown, and the longer the match went on, the more troops you would sort of add into the mix, and the more epic it would kind of get. So as soon as I get the necromancer on my alt account, we should be able to start doing that. And it's taken me a while though with my alt account. I had to get it up to the Angelic Temple to be able to use giant growth. So that's why I hadn't really been able to do this before. I mean, I could do it with other people, but I couldn't really do it versus myself. So similar concept as the last match. This one I was trying stone statues, but unfortunately I just end up metamorphing a bunch of the stone statues. So I kind of decided later on that maybe this wasn't the best method. But still a lot of fun either way. Especially since over the course of the match you can get like 5 to 10 metamorphs on each side, which definitely add for a lot of potential to just mix things up. I would like to try doing some live matches as well, like storm mode maybe, but it's hard because I have to play through a lot of matches and take a lot of losses against random people in order to finally find the one match where someone's actually willing to like play along with my strategy. There's a lot of matches where I'll just get rushed right off the bat in storm mode. There's a lot of rushing decks, and if I run against a rushing deck, I'm going to lose very quickly. And then I feel kind of like I'm trolling them because I'm not really playing the match unless it's a very particular deck that I'm looking for. So that's kind of why I went away from doing the live storm mode matches, because although occasionally I would get some amazing matches to share, it was just like 90% of the matches were just rushing decks, so wasn't working quite as well as I thought. What would be really cool is if you could do the special game modes in friendly matches. Like if I could do storm mode in a friendly match, that would be insanely awesome, because basically I would do the Dark Angel thing again, except I would, it would be growing through storm mode, I would use Giant Growth, and I would be feeding it with a necromancer with skeletons, and then we would see how big it would really get. You may or may not have seen the Dark Angel video by this point, but I'm gonna do one here where I'll sort of test it with a necromancer with skeletons to see how big it can get through the course of a match with just skeletons. So that's a video I'm working on. And there should be a whole bunch of other videos like this as well, if I can make it interesting enough, because obviously friendly matches are not always interesting, but I think Metamorph gives it the chance to be at least a little bit more interesting. So another one here, this time again with the stone statue in the mix, and again Metamorph. We got the giant growths for the dragon right off the bat here. And, it's interesting each time because, especially when I really play it kind of randomly, it never turns out quite the same way. I mean, I will say it usually ended up with one stack kind of just beating the other one, but that is why I really feel like if I could get a necromancer on both decks, that is where this might get really, really interesting, because then the match wouldn't just like end right away, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be able to play it until the end because obviously it would be a little bit different, but I wouldn't need as many like gusts of wind, or you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have to spend so much time doing that. There could be more time with the troops actually fighting each other in these type of videos if I used a necromancer. And I could just have some really crazy stacks just fighting each other the entire match. So that would be very interesting, I think. Let me know again if you have any other really interesting ideas you think I could mess around with in friendly matches. Because, again, I do want to try and experiment with some things. Of course, it would also be easier if you could use the special game modes in friendly matches, but I'm sure that could potentially let people just break some things, so maybe that's why they're not doing it. This one I tried using enchanters to see if that could help buy a little bit more time. It doesn't buy a lot of extra time, but it does help delay each side a little bit. Because, it's like half a gust of wind after the buff, so that's not too bad. This is just cool, mostly because you never see that many enchanters together in the same match. I don't even normally see 2 in the same lane, let alone like 5 in each lane. Just a ton of enchanters right here. I almost have I have 5 or 6 in that one lane there. So this is a pretty good stack. That was one of the better stacks I was able to build there. Again, it would be so much more epic, though, with necromancers, I feel like. So that's definitely something I would like to do. And I'm hoping to do more friendly matches soon, to be honest. So a lot of more friendly match videos, as well as sort of epic giant card videos, epic metamorph videos, a lot of that type of thing, since people seem to like that a lot, and people like the necromancer videos as well. So I think those are just cool because they're kind of unpredictable, and the necromancer videos can be a lot of action and fighting within a match. So that's always good from an entertainment standpoint. So hoping to do more of those types of content because they tend to perform well. And I'm trying to see if I can come up with some Castle Crush content that will perform well because, like I'd mentioned, it hasn't really been doing very well recently. So I'm probably going to be mixing in other games. I've been saying that for ages, but Castle Crush just, I'm going to try and get more creative with the videos and double down on what people like the most and trying to make more of those videos because a lot of my videos haven't really had as much interest. So I'm going to try and figure out what videos people are liking and we'll go from there. So that is going to do it for this video. So leave a like if you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments and what other types of content I should create, specifically like friendly match or giant card videos. I've seen some suggestions and I'll be looking into doing those. So maybe subscribe if you're new to my channel. And thanks for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more videos.